There are certain games that just stop being ordinary releases and slowly become legends. And not because they sold most copies or because they had the biggest marketing campaigns, but because they created the feeling that players never quite forgot or could forget. And Bloodborne is one of those games. More than a decade after its release, people are still talking about it with the same level of passion that usually surrounds brand new titles. Every PlayStation showcase brings new speculations, every major gaming event sparks fresh rumors, every discussion about remakes eventually circles back to the same question, which is, when is Bloodborne coming back? And perhaps more importantly, what form would that return actually take? So, would it be a remake, a remaster, or the sequel the fans have dreamed about for years? The truth is that no Bloodborne 2 and no Bloodborne remake has been officially announced. However, recent reports revealed something extremely interesting, which is multiple sources connected to Bloomberg reporting claim the Bluepoint Games, the studio responsible for the acclaimed Demon's Souls remake, repeatedly pitched a Bloodborne remake to Sony. And according to those reports, Sony was interested and the business case reportedly made sense, but From Software ultimately did not want the project to move forward. So here's the thing, that revelation changed how many fans actually view the situation. And for many years, people assumed Sony simply wasn't even interested. It appears that the reality might be a little bit more complicated. According to former PlayStation executives, From Software's president Miyazaki may view Bloodborne as a particularly personal project and may not want another studio handling it, despite fans demanding it. Recent reports and community discussions continue to point in that direction. Ironically, that information has only made fans want to return even more now, because it confirms something many players already suspected. Bloodborne isn't forgotten. If anything, it's one of the most desired dormant franchises in gaming. And when you do look at the game itself, it becomes easy to understand why. The original Bloodborne wasn't just another action RPG. It arrived during a period when many fantasy games were focused on medieval castles, knights, dragons, and familiar fantasy worlds. Bloodborne appeared and offered something completely different. A world that felt like a nightmare that had somehow became real. Its streets were drenched in gothic architecture, twisted religion, impossible creatures, and mysteries that seemed to grow stranger the deeper players ventured into the story. What initially appeared to be a tale about haunting beasts slowly then transformed into something far larger, revealing cosmic horrors, ancient secrets, and truths that completely reshaped everything players actually thought they understood. Few games ever actually executed that kind of transformation so successfully. And that's why a remake or a sequel remains such an exciting idea. If a remake ever happens, the most obvious improvement would be technology. Even today, one of the most common discussions surrounding Bloodborne involves performance. Fans continue asking for higher frame rates, increased resolution, faster loading times, and modern technical enhancements. You see, community discussions frequently mention how much potential the game still has if rebuilt using current generation hardware. But the appeal of a remake goes beyond frame rates. Imagine the world recreated with modern lighting technology. Imagine moonlight reflecting across wet streets now. The cathedral, imagine every animation rebuilt from the ground up. The original game already possessed extraordinary atmosphere, and a modern remake could elevate that atmosphere to something almost overwhelming. And then there's of course the sound design. One of Bloodborne's greatest strengths was always its ability to create tension through audio. The distant cries of creatures hidden in darkness, the echo of footsteps through abandoned streets, the haunting orchestral soundtrack that could shift from beautiful to terrifying within moments. Modern audio technology could make those elements even more immersive now. Players wouldn't simply explore the game, they would feel trapped inside the game's world. And at the same time, many fans would argue that Bloodborne 2 is even more exciting than a remake right now. Because as beloved as the game's world was, there were still countless mysteries that left unexplored. One of the reasons Bloodborne remains so fascinating is that From Software never explained everything. The world feels ancient, vast, unknowable. Players only glimpse fragments of its history, leaving enormous room for future stories. So a sequel, you see, would have opportunities that few franchises actually can match. It could explore entirely new cities, entirely new civilizations, entire new cosmic horrors. On another hand, the original game gradually revealed that humanity was only scratching the surface of something much larger than itself. A sequel could push that concept even further, introducing players to new regions, shaped by the consequences of forbidden knowledge and encounters with incomprehensible beings. And if there's one thing From Software actually excels at, it's creating worlds that feel larger than what players actually see. That's part of why discussions about Bloodborne 2 remains so persistent. People don't simply want more bosses, they want more mysteries, more questions. They want another journey into a world that feels impossible to fully even understand. Interestingly, recent community discussions suggest that many players have become increasingly realistic about the future of the franchise. Some fans now believe that if Bloodborne returns, it'll likely happen only when From Software itself decides the time is right. That doesn't mean a return is impossible. In fact, many fans view it as the opposite. The reports suggest there is interest, there have been discussions, there have been proposals. The franchise clearly remains valuable, so the challenge appears to be timing and creative direction rather than demand. And that might be encouraging. Because if Bloodborne does return someday, whenever, there's a good chance it will happen for the right reasons rather than just simply because selling nostalgia. Open world games have grown larger, graphics have become advanced, budgets have exploded, yet despite all of those changes, Bloodborne continues to occupy a unique place in a gaming culture. New players discover it, every year. Veterans continue playing it. Entire communities remain dedicated to analyzing its lore, theories, and hidden details. Very few games right now maintain that level of engagement after so many years of release. That kind of legacy isn't created by accident, it is created by something special. So whether the future holds Bloodborne 2, a remake, a remaster, or something nobody expects, one thing remains clear. The appetite for more Bloodborne has never disappeared. If anything, it has grown stronger. Right now, in fact, nobody outside Sony and From Software truly knows. But perhaps that's fitting. After all, Bloodborne was never a game about certainty, it was a game about curiosity, about chasing mysteries into the darkness even when common sense tells you to stop. And in a strange way, the franchise itself has become one final mystery for fans to solve. Years after the original adventure ended, players are still searching for answers, still following clues, and still hoping that somewhere beyond the game's world, another bigger hunt is waiting to begin.